Okay, today is June 16, 2014. Let's take a look at the market. First of all, let's take a look at the S&P 500. The S&P 500 closed slightly up today, just like all the other indexes except the transportation. It's sort of been chopping around all day after the first hour. It's kind of, fluctuating a little bit negative and a little positive, a couple of times throughout the day. So that's a little bit choppy. And but essentially, we're looking for this index to move up above this engulfing candle here. You see these two inside bar candle, inside day candle, and you see that's this one for 1943.55 area. If it could move about that, then there's a good chance that it might come up and tag this previous all-time high and possibly even make it put in a new all-time high. And we also have this Dow Jones 30. Similarly, the Dow Jones 30 is kind of hovering within this engulfing candle here, also put in an inside day. So it's still holding up at this above this 16,745 level here. So it might be, if it could, again, just like the S&P 500, if it could move about the high of this engulfing candle, that's a good possibility that it could work itself back up to the previous all-time high and possibly put in a new all-time high. And then the NASDAQ 100 got a little flag forming, and it seems like it's trying to break through this flag. So again, it's sort of like a inside bar within this engulfing candle as well. So wouldn't be surprised to see it also trying to make it up here to put in a new multi-year high. Then the Russell 2000. The Russell 2000 was really strong in the last few days, even though on this pullback here, like last Friday, it's put in this little doji hammer here. And right now, today, I got a little bit of a follow too. As long as it holds above this, 115, this 1157, 58, and it seems to be, working itself back up to this 1180 level. If we could break above that 1180 level, then there's a good possibility it could come up and try to tag this 1194, 1195. And if we look at this spider, so the spider is basically holding up above this 192, 193, and we want to see it break about this 194.70 area, and then maybe come up and tag this 196 again. Then on the Q, we see the Q is again holding up, forming a little bit of a pennant or flag or whatever. It's basically a little bit of a pullback, so it could be come back up to this 92.90 or 93 level. Okay. Then the IWM, the Russell 2000 ETF, ever since it broke through this 115, it came up and tagged this 117 level, pull back right now and try to retest this 115. So if it could hold above this 115 level, okay, then it could make it back up and try to take out this 117 one more time. Then it could work itself up to this 118 and possibly get up to this 1205. This 119, 119, 120 level. Okay. So let's take a look at Apple. I put out a intraday chart on Apple earlier today, and essentially we're talking about this little price channel here. Still kind of hovering within this price channel. So on this trend line. So if we could hold above this trend line and make it above, break above this 92, 96, somewhere around 93 level, then we could see it to work itself back up to this 95 and possibly, get up to somewhere around this, 90s, up in the 96, 97 area, okay, if it could make back up to this upper, trend line here on this price channel, okay. And on the Netflix, again, Netflix has also kind of been, hovering around this little trend line here on this price channel. But the interesting thing is, on the daily chart, it seems to be holding within this this zone here, this between this 416, 432. Right? So if it consolidate a little bit here and then break back above this 432. Then we probably could see it to make its way back up to the 440 and possibly even make up back up to this high here and take out that high. Okay. And then on Facebook, Facebook is ever since it booked at $64, and it came up to this 60 65 close to 66. Right now it's pulled back and try to test that 64 resistance turn support level, and if we could hold this, we might see a bounce, and if we could bounce back above this 65 and get above the 66, we could see Facebook make itself back up to somewhere around this 69 level. All right, okay, and might even get up to this 72 and take out the previous high. Right. Amazon booked to that broke out of this price channel last week, and then put in this doji here on this 337 resistance that I was mentioning about. When it breaks out of this channel, we're talking about this 337 channel, this resistance, and it actually overshoot it with a little bit of a shooting star, but it pulled back and closed below this 337 last Wednesday. And on Thursday, you got to follow through with a big negative red candle. So right now it's still basically coming back down to retest this gap level here. If we could hold this level and then come back up, then there's a good chance that it could take out this zone here, this resistance zone, and maybe make it up here to this 378, essentially to come up and try to fill this gap here. So you just have to keep an eye on it. If it can't hold this gap, then maybe it will dip down to this 314, 315 level, and try to hold support sort of above this 50-day moving average. So kind of keep an eye on it to see how it moves. If it could move back up here, then we can see further upside. And then on Twitter, remember I was talking about earlier that I was expecting that at this area here that it might even come down and retest its 2950 level and possibly break through it, and might even go tag that IPO original pricing for the IPO of 26. Well, it didn't go down there. It didn't even come down to this low. So it kind of held above it, and it came up and sort of put in a little bit of a pivot high here, and then pulled back. Then we put in another pivot low, which is above this low. So we got a series of higher low, and then when it broke through this this baseline here and got into the zone, we essentially put in a higher high, and now today it's kind of filled in this gap, this price gap. So I wouldn't be surprised that maybe we might see it to come up and tag this 39 in the next coming days, a couple of days, tag this 39, or we could see a little bit of a pullback and possibly retest this 35.50, at this baseline here. But once it pulled back up above that 39, there's a good chance that we could see, Twitter might work itself back up to this 47 level. So that would be interesting to watch, see how it play out at this level down here. There. Then next is Tesla. Tesla been quite resilient and strong today. Remember originally we were talking about this particular flag here, right? This little flag, and that's why I got this little major move on this flag to trace it back up to this somewhere around this 235, 236. Right? But as it turned out, this flag could turn out into a little bit of a pennant, but it doesn't matter what it is. It's still basically down at this particular pivot base to do the major move. So again, today, once it broke through this little flag, this pivot, we're talking about looking at that 220, right? This 220 resistance. And when it first initially bump against that 220, you see that it kind of pulled back a little bit and it tests a couple of times before it actually broke through that 220 level and essentially went all the way up to 225. Okay, so I want to see some continuation here and possibly bring it up. Essentially right now is you got this little gap here, right, at 227, 228. So if it could get through this gap, then we'll probably see it maybe work itself up to this pivot high here, somewhere around that 236. Right, then who knows? Maybe it could do a little bit of a zigzag and work itself back up to this high and take out that high and put in a new high. And then we got Google. Google has been a little bit of a lagger here, but this seems to be finding some kind of support down here. If it could hold, again, you see that it's kind of forming a little bit of a triangle or a wedge, and it's getting, basically getting squeezed in this apex. So if we could squeeze above this this trend line here, then there's a good possibility that we could see this thing might work itself back up at least to this 580 87 level, that this pivot here, this level right here, then maybe possibly work itself back up to that 600. But if it break down, then we could see it come back down and possibly, test this low here. I mean, this pivot level somewhere around this 542. And if that can't hold, then we might even see a lower price and dip below the 200-day moving average. So we kind of just keep an eye on Google right now, see which way you're going to break. Is it going to break down or break out on the upside? Okay. Then the other one is Lincoln. We talk about Lincoln breaking above this level here, and once it breaks, we're basically looking for somewhere around this 179 as a target. So right now it's doing a little bit of a consolidation. Wouldn't be surprised if it come back down and we test this breakout level before it make this move back up here. So then the other stock that I want to look at is some of the stock that I put up this weekend. First one is Bouquet. We're talking about looking at the baseline break. It sort of broke through that, but it wasn't able to hold above it. So we're probably still looking for this to, maybe do a little bit of hovering around here beneath that before it trying to make a break. So that way it probably also give it a little bit of time for the 50-day moving average just kind of flatten out. Okay, so right now just keeping an eye on that. If it break through that, above this high, this 937 or so, then it might find itself make its way, up at these, these level here, the 980, and possibly get up to this 1025. Okay. Then we also got Pandora. So Pandora, it came up and filled this gap, and it's kind of pulled back a little bit on the consolidation right now. Okay. So, but if it could hold above this, hold this baseline here, and then we're basically looking for to try to move up to this somewhere around this 30 level. So then Checkpoint Software. Okay, so again, we're looking for this to break out of this base, and so kind of breaking out today. So looking for to see can it make it up to this particular pivot level here, somewhere around the 6850. Then the 3D printer VJet. We're talking about the VJet. Again, you look at this. Here's the low here, and it came up, right? Form a little pivot and come back down, and then form a higher low. So now it broke this baseline. So right now we're essentially looking for to see could it get up to this this resistance somewhere around 1620, and essentially sort of at this gap level here. If we get up to this and get above it, and there's a good chance that we might see it fill this gap at 1822, 1825. Because the first time it came into this gap, it wasn't able to completely fill the gap and then kind of sold off. So maybe this time around, if we could get into that gap zone, maybe we could see it to fill this gap here. All right. Then the other 3D printer was X1. So again, X1, here's a little bit of a doji hammer low here, and you can see that it came up, got a bounce and then pulled back and then sold off again. But you see that low here, this series of low is higher than this low here, so it kind of formed a little bit of a base, okay, on a kind of near-term bottom here. And then when it came in and came up and filled this gap, then retraced back below, and again it held this low here. So now we got a series of higher lows. So if we could break above this pivot of 3050, then we could get in a higher high. So maybe that will work itself up to this particular 3790 area up at this pivot. Right? Then we basically got a nice big double bottom here. And then if we break this double bottom, then we could just do a major move and possibly get up here to somewhere around 49. Okay. Then the other one we'll look at is Cree. Right? We talk about Cree, that sort of like a cup and handle, and it broke that cup and handle, and today it's sort of pulled back a little bit. So it's just kind of consolidating. So just keep an eye on it, and maybe there's a opportunity for those people that missed the entry, on last Friday. There might be another possibility for re-entry. And if you are just scaling in, then maybe there is some more opportunity for one to scale in. Okay. The other one was MGM. We also talk about MGM. Again, MGM is forming this little triangle, like a wedge. So it's depending which side it's gonna break down, or break above and break up. If it break down, then we're basically looking at somewhere around this 22, 23 area. If it break above this trend line, then we could look at something like the 27 up here. Okay, and Amgen. Okay, Amgen, we're looking for this to break above this 119. Right, just basically it's just a little heads up right now. Take a look at, keep an eye on it. There might be some opportunity coming to scale in for those aggressive trader. Essentially, if it come up and break this baseline, you can see that it could be forming a inverted head and shoulder. And if that's the case with a major move, that could put this Amgen up at the 127 level. Then finally is the TLT. Okay, I think the things to bear in mind is, don't try to make any sense out of this interest rate thing. The low rate, or the market is why is it doing this, and why isn't the rate is higher, or why is it so low? Who cares? Right? Because right now the price action is to say it seems to imply to say it's going to go higher. Right? That means the rate is going to go lower. Right? Okay, so don't try to make any sense out of it. Just trade the price action, okay? Because by the time that you find out what caused it or whatever, this whole move will be over. But if you're trying to short this thing, then you better know what's driving it. But I don't recommend anybody to try to go and short this thing right now, because the trend to me is still remain up until it tell me otherwise. Right now, it have not print a price pattern that tell me that the trend have reversed. Okay, now it seems to me that this thing is, could easily right now is setting up to move back up to this 114, 115 level. Now I could be totally wrong. It could just collapse and come back down and test this, 107, and maybe for those other people that's thinking about even come back down to this 101 area. Well, that's a possibility, but right now the probability is that it seems more of in favor of moving up. So right now, I basically just say, if you don't want to trade this thing, you don't want to make any sense out of it because you don't understand it, then stand on the sideline. Don't try to go against it. Right? So just trade what you see. Don't trade what you believe. Okay. So hope everybody had a profitable day, and good luck to you on tomorrow on your trading.